Welcome to our Friday live stream called This Week in Cannabis News, powered by Dutchie. Each Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, we deliver an overview of this week's most important cannabis news. It's quick, it's comprehensive, and it sends you into the weekend as a more informed cannabis professional and industry watcher. And it's all made possible by our friends at Dutchie. You can find and connect with the team there through a link in the show notes. Now, let's get to it. U.S. House Representatives Dave Joyce, Max Miller, and Dina Titus, the first two Republicans, the last one's a Democrat, reintroduced the States Act this week, which would deschedule cannabis while still providing federal support to states that choose to maintain prohibition. At the national level, cannabis would be regulated by the Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau, as well as the FDA. This is the fourth time the bill has been filed since 2018, and it has yet to pass and be signed into law, so we shall see how it fares in this Congress. On Tuesday, Curaleaf announced the transition of one of its Florida medical cannabis dispensaries into a legal hemp shop now called the Hemp Company. Notice, the Hemp Company, THC. The West Palm Beach store will sell Farm Bill compliant hemp THC products, the company said. These will mostly be Curaleaf's own brands of low-dose edibles and beverages, and will also include products from partner companies, including 1906 and Cann, this according to a press release. And not to be left out of the Florida action, Trulieve contributed nearly $20 million to the Smart and Safe's next campaign to legalize cannabis in Florida, as reported by Fox 35 in Orlando. Trulieve was by far the largest financial backer of Amendment 3, the ballot measure that failed to legalize cannabis last November in the Sunshine State. The next hope is the 2026 ballot. We heard from a key cannabis industry lobbyist this week about how he views cannabis reform right now in Washington. David Culver, the SVP of Public Affairs for the U.S. Cannabis Roundtable and Industry Trade Group, told Green Market Report, "While the ball remains in the DEA's court, I think that they're going to need to get direction from the president in order for rescheduling to occur. And I'm still optimistic about the president acting on cannabis reform. He was very clear in October of last year about what he would like to do in the space, and we were told very clearly at the beginning of this year that we're going to have to wait our turn." Culver said it's a matter of when and not if for cannabis reform under Trump, in his view. We should note that this optimism comes amid reports that the DEA no longer has plans to restart the cannabis rescheduling process that was delayed earlier this year. To Minnesota, where regulators can finally start handing out licenses to potentially hundreds of applicants that do not have to take part in this summer's license lottery after publishing final regulation on the state registry on Monday. The state is allowing an uncapped number of micro businesses, while retailers and mezzo businesses, which is a license category that allows for multiple dispensary locations, must wait for their respective lottery. Over 600 social equity license applicants are first in line, according to the state's Office of Cannabis Management. And in case you missed it, longtime legalization advocate and HBO comedian and host Bill Maher said that he cannot blame his predilection for pot on his impression of President Donald Trump as a gracious host for his most recent visit to the White House. Unlike on his podcast, Maher said his dinner with Trump and Kid Rock did not involve him getting stoned. Seriously, have a watch.
And I wasn't high. Damn, missed opportunity.
And that wasn't even the one fun thing this week. That's because we're sitting less than 48 hours from 420, which always brings out fun things. Here are a few. 76% of cannabis consumers polled by NugMD said that they love when mainstream brands promote themselves on 420. The poll asked 270 respondents, and only 24 said they didn't want brands to jump on 420. And speaking of brands on 420, zigzag to tower over Times Square for 420. That's right. This week won't be the first time that Cannabis Now Media has advertised in Times Square for 420, but it will be the first from the media group to feature a week-long cannabis celebration in and around Times Square. Company founder Eugenio Garcia said that the campaign was part of a larger effort to normalize weed consumption. And everyone's favorite, Hostess Snack Cakes, the makers of Twinkies, Ho-Hos, and Ding Dongs, are sending Munchie Mobiles with free snacks to dispensaries in New York, Massachusetts, New Jersey, Connecticut, and Maryland in celebration of 420. The company is hoping to reach new customers among stoners. New? I guess we'll see. After spending decades associated with kid snacks. It's part of a broader trend for mainstream brands leaning into 420 related advertising. All of these stories and much, much more can be found on our website, which is cultivated.news. And that is it for This Week in Cannabis News, powered by Dutchie. We'd love for you to follow us on LinkedIn and on YouTube. Check back next Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, right here on our LinkedIn page and our YouTube channel. Be sure to get our newsletter in your inbox every morning by visiting cultivated.news. And another thank you to our partners at Dutchie, who make this show possible every single week. A link to find out more about Dutchie is in the show notes. Thank you, everyone, and have a great 420 weekend.